Waterfall, the CCW podcast.
Hello and welcome to Waterfall. It's the water saving podcast brought to you by CCW. That's the Consumer Council for Water. We are all about saving water, saving money, protecting the environment and combating climate change. I'm Mike and I'm here with Karen. Hello, Karen. How are you?
Hello, Mike.
You are looking chipper today. That's very good. And Tom's lurking. I don't know how he's feeling because he's in this darky, shady zone. Hello, producer Tom.
I'm good. I'm feeling a little out of wares, but all the better for seeing you guys on this big screen. So, yeah.
Oh, well, that's lovely. Look, we've got a fantastic, exciting episode today because we are unwrapping the water use from season 3 of Waterfall. And we're going to be revealing who has the lowest water use out of all our guests from season 3. And there are some incredible numbers in there. And we're going to get to that in just a minute. But before that, we're going to have a special guest, one of the friends of the show. And he's here now. It's Steve Grebby, who is our sewage expert, the Prince of Poo. Hello, Steve.
Morning, Mike. How are you? I'm not quite
Good.
sure Prince of Poo tag, but we'll go with it.
well, let's roll with it for the moment. So we're going to be picking Steve's brain in just a second because we're interested in the water table. And could you do an equivalent league table for sewage misuse? That's the big question we'll be asking Steve in just a second. But before we get to that, let's remind our listeners how to get in touch with the show, Karen.
Yes, they can email us using podcast@ccwater.org.uk.
And there's some rumour that we're on social media. Goodness knows how you can do that. Tom, fill us in.
We are at CCW Voice. And also, I just want to promote, we have an article in the Institute of Water magazine. We have a whole in-depth review written by myself all about our live appearance at the conference a few months ago. We'll put the links down below, but definitely check that out. That was a great piece.
Lovely. So do get in touch with the show. We really enjoy hearing from you. So the guest is here. So let's just start talking to the guest. It's Steve Grebby. Steve, before we start, right, I was talking this morning to the family about we're recording a Waterfall and Steve Grebby's coming back. And Maddie, who's 7 years old, now she listens to Waterfall to help her fall asleep, which says a lot about the show, right? I know.
Not the only one, Mike.
Yeah. I think Maddie putting the Waterfall on to help her sleep accounts for 95% of all our downloads. So well done, Maddie. Keep it up. But I said, Steve Grebby's on, and she properly looked up and went, Steve Grebby. Episode 8 and episode 18. And I was like, really? She went, yeah, flush decisions and the most waterful time of the year. And she went, that's the one with Granny on it.
Oh my goodness, Steve, you've got a fan base.
I beat Granny.
Well, Granny was on it too, you see, that same episode.
Wow. I take it as a big compliment, mate. Big compliment.
Honestly, she was sharper than anyone I've met about being able to work out which episode's which as well. So, I was very impressed. Anyway, so you clearly left a mark with 7-year-old Steve. So I don't know where you want to go with that.
Is she after her own spatula? Is that it? Is she jealous of the spatula, I said?
Possibly. That's a very good point. So, Steve, you're on because we want to pick your massive head, your massive brain on sewer misuse, because we've got a water table, and then we'll be getting to that in just a second, where we have a league table of people's water use. And I was wondering, is it possible to do the equivalent on the sewage side of things and the whole sewer misuse side of water services? What do you reckon?
It's difficult because your league table on measuring use is actually based on a meter in somebody's house, and of course you don't meter sewage. It would be quite difficult if you had a meter on it because you block the meter with all the stuff you put down the toilet and down the sink. But what water companies do is measure the number of blockages in their system. Now, the number of blockages in their system will go down if we stop flushing stuff down the toilet that we shouldn't, and if we stop flushing stuff down the sink that we shouldn't. So you can measure it that way. And there is a piece of research being carried out by a water company at the moment where they're actually going into a treatment works, and think of the person who's got this job. And in a treatment works, they try and get out as much of the wet wipes and the tampons as they possibly can. And they're actually measuring the weight of those. And when the water company do a campaign in the area to get people to stop flushing wet wipes, for example, or to not put stuff down the kitchen sink, Faxols and grease down the sink, they're actually measuring the contents of the stuff that they pull out of a sewage treatment works and weighing it to see if that weight goes down in response to the campaigns that they're doing in the local area. If all water companies did that, it might be quite expensive, but the reduction in the number of blockages in a particular area would be a really good way, and it would be a sort of a community project to say to people, listen, we're doing this together. Everybody's got a responsibility not to flush these things down the loo. We'll measure the number of blockages, and a reduction in the number of blockages would not only save costs to water companies, which is then passed on eventually to customers, but it would also stop spills into rivers and streams, because blockages cause spills, because when the sewer fills up, it can't go anywhere else. It has to have a sort of an emergency valve, and you probably heard about them in the press, called storm overflows. There is a contribution of blockages to storm overflows. So in reducing blockages in a town or village or a community, we can actually benefit the environment as well.
So what I think you're saying is you can do it at a community level, but you couldn't do it at a personal level.
Yeah, it'd be difficult at a personal level. I mean, fat soils and grease blockages in your sink take time to build up. So you could do it. You could do it yourself by saying, how many times am I not unblocking my sink? And, we were talking to a guest in a previous episode about how horrible it is to unscrew the bottom of your sink and get all that gunk out, get all that fat soils and grease out. And if you have to call somebody out to do it, it's going to cost you about 200 quid to unblock a sink. So, you can save yourself money, but you couldn't really measure the number of times you're not calling a plumber out.
Yeah, because it's the absence of a bad thing happening. It's something that's harder to try. No, that's really fascinating. So, Steve, while you're here, it would be very remiss of us not to say, look, it's that time of year where a lot of roasting takes place. And I don't mean the kind of roasting that Tom gets on social media for his witty comments. A different kind of roasting. What's your top tip then for those sort of festive fats, oils, and greases?
Top tip: scrape it into the bin. It's really that simple. You just scrape it into the bin, allow it to cool, so burning the plastic bag in there, and then scrape it into the bin. There's nothing more difficult than that.
I think that message came out loud and clear on our episode about fogs as well, wasn't it? With who was the guest?
Stephen Williams. Stephen Williams was it?
Stephen Williams, clearing up fog, episode 55.
Yeah, he was talking about what water companies do with food service places, restaurants, that type of thing, who actually have to have machines in their kitchens to remove the fat, soils, and grease. But at home, when your roasting tin is cooled, you've taken your roast potatoes out. I know you're very keen on your roast potatoes, Mike. What I watched diligently as you used your goose fat to cook those potatoes, very impressive. I personally go for the Delia style, where you shake them up in the pan before you roast them, nice and crispy. But you've got fat left over now, and if you've got stuff left on your plate as well, just scrape it into the bin before you stick it in there, before you wash it up or stick it in the dishwasher.
I have a question about veg oil, right? I thought one of the messages is that you've got this fat, particularly if it's from animal fat, and at room temperature it's solid. You cook it up, it melts. Then you chuck it down your sink. It's still melted at this point. It goes down the sewer, solidifies, and causes a blockage. But what about those oils that actually are still liquids and will still stay liquids at temperatures that it'll experience once it disappears off down the sewage? Is it okay just to chuck those down the sink?
Absolutely not. When an oil is mixed with your washing up liquid or your dishwasher powder, it will emulsify. And it changes its chemistry. So when you flush it down the sink, yes, it disappears, but eventually that will mix up with everything else in the sewer and all the animal fats, and then it becomes one big congealed mess. It sets like concrete in a way, and it's really difficult to remove, and it's really unpleasant to remove.
Karen's been very quiet here, but I mean, the listeners can't see us, but Karen was nodding, like, oh yes, of course, everyone knows that point of view. Yeah. Is that true, Karen? Did you know this?
I'm deferring to our expert.
This is what what water companies do now. They can put an enzyme in the sewer, and it breaks these things down. But of course, You have to get into the sewer to do that. It's expensive to do that, but it stops blockages. It reduces the number of blockages. But ultimately, if it doesn't go down the sink, it doesn't end up in the sewer and doesn't have to be dealt with. So the cheapest and the most effective way is that we just change our behavior a bit. Just take a few minutes, scrape that roasting tin, scrape your food waste into the bin. You're saving yourself money. You're saving yourself an absolute nightmare if you try to unscrew your bottom of your kitchen sink and undo a blockage. And you don't have to. I know a friend of mine goes, "Oh, it's great. I've bought these little sticks that stick down my sink, and now I don't get a block plug hole." Well, he doesn't, but he still has to go out and buy something to basically solve the problem that he's caused himself by scraping oil and fat down the sink in the first place. So it's an easy solution to the situation of blocking your own sink and blocking sewers, flooding people's homes and polluting the environment.
Steve, I've got no idea what you're talking about. Little sticks that you put in your sink. Sorry, I mean, what?
I didn't know about them either. You get these little sticks and you pop it in your plug hole, and it breaks down the fats, oils, and grease in there, which is great if you've got a blockage. But actually, he was really pleased that because he phoned me up and I've got a blocked sink, and I went, "Well, you've been shoving stuff down there, you shouldn't, haven't you?" And he bought these things here. He said, "Brilliant, I get far less blockages." And I said, "Well, why don't you just scrape the stuff into the bin beforehand? Then you don't have to go out, find the product and go out and buy it, because it is just a waste of money if you just do a small change to actually dispose of your fats, oils and grease, dispose of your food waste properly. Better for you, cheaper for you, better for water customers as a whole, because we're not clearing blockages, and better for the environment."
Very good. Karen, I am concerned that you have been very quiet in this whole segment.
I'm concerned that Karen's sitting there going, "Ooh, I'll have to get myself a spatula."
Or some sticks to chuck down her sink.
I mean, the problem is people always sort of come back and say, "Oh, it's fine. I've always done it this way, and I've not had any problems." But you don't have a problem until you have a problem. And I think it's a lot easier to break habits than I think some people imagine. Once you've just sort of changed your behaviour for a couple of weeks, it starts to become the new habit. And I think what we've got to recognise is that small changes make a big difference, and that's all we're asking.
Although, can I mention one thing? Air fryers.
Oh, we've just got one, Steve, so careful what you say.
I've got one. But if you've got an air fryer, now you can buy these little liners that you put in them, so you can lift your stuff out of the little basket they're in. My future brother-in-law, though he might not be if he carries on disposing of his oil like this, takes his basket out of his air fryer and just sticks it straight in the sink. No scraping of the fats and oils into the bin or anything. So, and he thinks that's a really good way to clean his air fryer. It's not, because there's absolutely masses of oil when you fry something in an air fryer, and might not be on your food, but it's in the bottom of the basket. That needs to be cleaned out in exactly the same way as you would clean a roasting tin. Just scrape it, put it into the bin, don't wash it out in the sink.
There you are. Wise words on the sinister side of air fryers. Wow. I'll be very careful, Steve, I promise.
We're good.
Good. Look, fantastic, Steve. Coming on, giving us some great advice, not only on giving up hope of having a league table on sewer misuse.
Sorry about that.
But great advice for not just for this time of year, but for every day of the year on what to do with your fats, oils and greases. So, Steve, we'll be seeing you again soon. Thank you for coming on.
I look forward to this getting absolutely loads of hits from your daughter listening to it every night.
Oh, yeah, it's going to shoot up the charts. Those listeners, our Luxembourg fans, you're about to be beaten by your Bourneville fans. There you go. Right.
Thanks, Mike.
What would you like Waterfall to cover next? Send your water-saving topics to podcast@ccwater.org.uk.
So that was Steve Grebby there, our resident sewage expert, the Prince of Poo at CCW. It's always good to have him on and get his tips that are so useful, because, the absence of something bad happening is often underappreciated. And no one would like to have their sewers blocked, particularly at this time of year. But we've established that league table for sewer misuse is a non-starter, but we do have an excellent league table for water use. And this has been compiled during season 3, which has been a superb season for CCW's Waterfall podcast. What has been surprising, though, before we get into the league table, is how many did not knows we've had. 37% of our guests did not know their water use. Wow. Which, given they've got an interest in water, is a little bit surprising. So look, I mean, we have previously said we don't want to berate people for not knowing their water use, but let's be clear. Tim Harris, Tessa Wardley, Tom Spencer, Colin Strong, Craig Foster, all the Wessex water participants in the young person's panel, and Annie from Surfers Against Sewage, pull your socks up, okay? Thank you. So they did not know their water use. But let's get into the league table. It's our water table. Who is going to be the winner from season 3? So let's start. We've got 12. It's 12 till 1. Let's start at number 12.
Right. Well, in 12th place, we've got Nick Ajay from the DWI, the Drinking Water Inspectorate. He came in with 167 litres per person per day.
So if you do listen to that Waterfall Live episode, Nick does explain that within his household, there are some particular additional needs which does lead to a higher water use. And that's an important point. While we're banging on about low water use, we completely understand that there will be reasons and very good reasons why some people in some circumstances will need to use more water than the average. So that was Nick at number 12. At number 11, we've just been talking about this subject. It's Stephen Williams from Southern Water. And that was the episode number 55, Clearing Up Fog. And he had 161 litres per person per day in his house. Although he was very precise, 160.8 litres. So I think Stephen said to himself that he's probably got some bit of work to do on that one.
And then in 10th place, we've got Richard Reynolds from Anglian Water, who joined us for episode 56, which was Loyal to the Soil, which was all about the fantastic work that Anglian are doing with the agricultural community. And he came in at 114 litres a day.
I remember there was some shenanigans here about what water meter calculator.
Yes, he had a few, I think, that he was comparing, and we're not.
I think he picked them up with the lowest figure.
Yeah.
So that was Richard Reynolds. At number 9, we've got Professor Luis Botero, and he was on our episode number 54, which was about Colombia's water crisis and how they've got incredibly low water use now in Bogota. His was 110 litres a day. I did like the sort of irony there that he spent the whole episode telling us why they've got to, on average, 95 litres per person per day. But still, 110, I mean, that's bang on the target that England has for water use by 2050. So it just shows that even though he was higher than the average in Bogota, he's actually at the UK's target for 2050. It's incredible. So good performance there.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, from the same episode, we had our own Anna Maria Milan join us, and Anna Maria came in at 92 litres a day. So she's really doing well.
Yeah, well, she showed up, her fellow countryman, with an impressive performance there. That's very good. But of course, Anna Maria is CCW's very own water efficiency, climate change expert. So, I would, surely that's part of her job to have a low water consumption.
Well, she's leading by example, which is the main thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And at number 7, it's our good friend. It's our super fan. It's Tony V from episode number 53, which is Tony's Water Saving Odyssey. And his water use, and I won't quote it in gallons per day, which I think is what we often get from friends stateside. He was 93 litres per person per day in his house. And basically his top tips for getting such impressive water use was basically to do whatever Karen tells him to do. Karen, anything you'd like to add there?
No, I think you got it spot on, actually.
Oh, it makes me cringe, that episode. I mean, I love it, but it makes me cringe. I mean, how much did Tony really hang on your every word, Karen?
Well, I like to think that I'm giving out very practical advice, so...
Did you know you had so much power and influence, Karen?
Oh no, absolutely not.
No, very good. Maybe you're the secret to water efficiency. That is it. Everyone just needs to do what Karen does.
Well, I'm moving swiftly on. So now I've got to number 6, and that's from episode 63, which is a great episode with Surfers Against Sewage. And Danny Jordan, who came in at a very respectable 85 litres a day.
Now, Danny does say that she used to work for Waterwise, so it would be slightly embarrassing if she had profligate water use. But yeah, 85 litres, a very good score there from Danny, and a really interesting episode as well. Check out their app, very good app. And at number 5, we have Andrew Tucker on our Leaky Loos episode, which is episode 51, which, as the name suggests, talked about just how much water you can lose from a leaky loo. And his water use came in at 80 litres per person per day. Now, also, Andrew Tucker used to work for Waterwise. So again, there's another reason why he's got not impressively low water use. But that's very good. And I expect every loo in the Tucker household is fit and healthy and has never leaked in its life.
So moving on, we've got position number 4, which is from our live episode at the Institute of Water conference, and Nikki Russell from Waterwise, who has dropped now to 70 litres a day, which is brilliant.
We could actually have a little league table of Waterwise employees or ex-employees and see who is the wisest of the Water Wisers, which, well, it turns out it is Nikki Russell, and she's in charge. So, maybe that's why she's the boss. But 70 litres per person per day is a very, very good score. I'm saying this on every score, aren't I? I think I did this last time we ran down this league table. But, but the context is important here, because the average in the UK, and in England and Wales, is 145 litres per person per day?
Yes, certainly around that.
Yeah, so that means that all bar 2 on our league table are below the national average, which is, all of these are really impressive scores. But we're getting near the business end of the league table. It's very exciting. Oh, it's tough at the top. We're into the top 3. Woohoo! And we have got, this is a friend of mine, it's Professor Rich Allen from Reading University, who was talking really passionately and knowledgeably about climate change in episode 61, which was about climate change, turbocharging the water cycle. And Rich, he had quoted his in cubic meters a day, which again makes a point about how accessible the information is. But you convert that to litres, and it's 64 litres per person per day in the good professor's household. Again, very low figures there from Rich. And again, I think I recall, Karen, he was name-checking you and your tips in that episode.
It was really good to hear just how important he felt it was to be conserving water. It was a really interesting episode, and a really helpful way of linking climate change and the impact on the water cycle. So yeah, certainly one to recommend for listeners.
Yeah, climate change is all about water, and water is all about climate change, and that link is, Rich made that link very, very clear, which is great. But I don't think that link is top of mind in many people, in the general public's mind. And I think it's an important link to make, because if we're going to tackle climate change, the Earth can't wait. Let's be clear. We need to pull our fingers out, all of us. And I think that is an episode that just has such it's kind of quite concerning in many ways, but also optimistic in other ways too. And I think Rich got that balance spot on in that episode. So do check that one out. We're on to number 2, Karen. Who is at number 2, eh?
Do you want to break the news?
Yeah, Karen.
I'm very pleased to say that I have managed to achieve runner-up status on season 3 water table.
Wow.
Amazing and
How do
inspiring.
you feel, Karen?
The thing that I'm particularly pleased about is I've only recently had my meter installed and up and running. And so, what I do in terms of water use is just what I do with water in my home. I've not really changed, how I use water at all, to simply get my water use down. And I'm just really pleased at where it's come out, because 58 litres a day is not putting any pressure on the way I live my life.
No, and we've not said that actually in this episode. Pretty much all the things that people do are straightforward, easy things. They don't impinge on their lifestyle. Water saving is easy. It's not an infringement of your liberty. You do know, Karen, that when I say we, I mean pretty much the entire CCW staff, thought that you were dodging having a meter for many, many years because you didn't want to have to face the embarrassment if it turned out that your water use was really high.
I'm sure there are all kinds of rumours going around.
So, Karen, joking aside, really impressive. I mean, 58 litres per person per day. You are practicing what you preach. It really shows that your advice is authentic and it's coming from a really good place. And you're not patronising anyone. You're just actually saying what you do. And I think that is very, very strong and very, very powerful. And obviously, Tony V listens to you as well. So,
I can hear his cheers from New York right now. He is celebrating hard right now, yeah.
So, at number 2, you didn't quite get the crown though, right? I mean, this is quite incredible, right? Our number 1. Our number 1, the season 3 winner with the lowest water use is from our Waterfall live episode, which is episode 49. Well worth checking out. And it is Laura Moss from the Drinking Water Inspectorate, who comes in at 44 litres per person per day. How on earth does she manage that? That is just unbelievable. Well done, Laura.
I mean, that is really impressive. I mean, we in previous seasons, we've not come across, levels like that, have we? So, Laura really is an example to us all. Maybe we should get her on for season 4.
Do you know what? That's a really good idea. Get her to find out more. I think the lowest from season 2 was Mark Gush.
It was David Clubb at 49 litres.
David Clubb. Oh, what did Mark Gush come in as then?
Mark Gush got 55 litres. 55, he was third.
Right. So Mark Gush was Mulch to Do About Nothing.
He was.
And David Clubb was Adventures in a Sponge Garden.
Indeed.
Both very, very good episodes. So we are getting some incredibly low numbers in there. And well done to Laura. We did give her a prize actually during the episode, in the live episode for that. So Laura, in the we want to spend public money wisely, so you're not getting another prize, but well done. You do get the booby prize of possibly coming back and featuring on an episode to tell us all that you do. So that's absolutely fabulous.
No, it's interesting what you just said then, Mike, about season 2, and I've just looked at sort of a combination of both tables, and really the Galactico position is breaking sub 50 litres there. So big congrats to Laura Moss. Laura is our all-time water saver across both tables there. So that is an insane accolade.
No, very good, very good. Right, we are running out of time. That's it for season 3 of Waterfall. Look out for a couple of specials that will be coming out over the next few weeks and months. Thank you for listening. Don't forget you can get in touch with the show.
Yes, you can always email us on podcast@ccwater.org.uk.
And it's at CCW Voice. CCW Voice is where we are on Twitter, on Instagram, and we're posting lots of fun stuff there, so please do follow us.
Lovely. Right, so that's it from me, Mike. Goodbye.
And from me, Karen.
And goodbye from me, producer Tom. Bye.